For the better part of 2 decades, our digital lives have been run by one thing, that grid of icons on our phone, the app. Well, that entire model, the very foundation of how we use technology, is about to get completely blown up. We are right in the middle of a massive shift, from a world of apps to a future run by AI agents. So let's dive in and break down what that actually means. To really get where we're headed, we have to start with a problem that I'm willing to bet every single one of you feels every single day. Just the sheer overload of trying to manage our digital lives. Think about it. Sound familiar? You have one simple goal, but you end up becoming this human router, the manual connection point between a dozen different pieces of software that refuse to talk to each other. Yeah, there's actually a name for this. It's called the toggle tax. Just look at the super common task, booking a work trip. You're bouncing between at least 5 different apps. You're copying and pasting, trying to hold all the details in your head. It's a total flip, right? The software isn't working for you, you're working for it. And that friction, that's the exact problem agents are being built to solve. Okay, so what's the fix for all that chaos? Well, it's not just a better app. It's a whole new way of thinking, a new paradigm built around something called Agentic AI. The huge, and I mean huge, difference here is who's in charge. With an app, you give it a very specific command, right? Search for flights to New York. With an agent, you just give it a high-level goal. Hey, book my trip for the conference in New York. The agent is the one that then figures out all the little steps and all the services it needs to pull together to just make it happen. And this analogy, it just hits the nail on the head. An app is a vending machine. You have to know exactly what you want, C4, and press the right buttons in the right order. But an AI agent, that's your personal shopper. You just say what you feel like, I need a snack, and it does all the hard work of figuring out the best option for you. You state the outcome, not the operation. Big difference. So look, this is the really big takeaway. This isn't just some new feature. It's a fundamental rewriting of our relationship with tech. Our job is changing. We're not operators clicking buttons anymore. We're becoming supervisors who just approve the final outcome. The whole structure is changing, from static menus we have to navigate to interfaces that the AI just creates for us on the fly. Okay, this all sounds pretty amazing, right? Almost like magic. So how does an AI actually do stuff instead of just talking about doing stuff? Let's pop the hood and see what's actually making this engine run, because there are 2 key breakthroughs here. So, we've all heard a million times about LLMs, right? Large language models. They're amazing at predicting the next word in a sentence, but the real magic trick here is the large action model, or LAM. Instead of just predicting text, it's been trained to predict the next action in a piece of software. It's the engine that can literally click and type and navigate for you. But let's be real, nobody wants to do complicated work by typing back and forth with a chatbot. It's clunky, and that's where generative UI comes in. Instead of you navigating some fixed, static interface, the AI just builds a custom one for you right in that moment. So you ask for sales data, and it doesn't just spit back numbers. Boom, it generates a fully interactive chart right there in the conversation. Okay, I know you're probably thinking right now, didn't we see a bunch of AI gadgets this year and, well, they were kind of train wrecks, weren't they? So what's the real story? Is this whole agent thing just more hype? Look, the reason those gadgets like the Rabbit R1 and the Humane AI pin failed wasn't because the idea of an AI agent is bad. No, it was a total failure of execution and strategy. They were slow, they were unreliable, and they tried to replace the single most powerful device we all own, our smartphone. The big lesson here was super clear. This revolution is going to happen on your phone, not in some separate little box. So does that mean this whole AI agent thing was just a flash in the pan? A failed experiment? Not even close. See, while all those consumer gadgets were failing in the spotlight, a quiet revolution was already happening behind the scenes, in the business world. Right now, as we speak, Salesforce agents are autonomously handling up to 90% of routine customer service tasks for huge companies. The concept is absolutely proven. It's just happened where most of us weren't looking. You gotta understand, this isn't just about changing how your phone looks. This is shaking up the entire economy. The rules for how we buy software, who the big tech players are, and even the kinds of security threats we have to worry about, they're all being rewritten from the ground up. That old model of paying, $10 a month just for access to a tool, it's dying. And really, why would you want to pay that way anymore? In this new economy, you're going to pay for the result, not for the rental. Outcome-based pricing is taking over. And this is huge for you because it means you no longer pay for access to a sales tool. You'll pay a tiny fee for every single qualified lead that Agent actually generates for you. The cost is tied directly to the value. And all of this sets the stage for the next massive tech Cold War, the battle for the orchestration layer. Just think of this as the master controller, the brain that decides which agent is best for which job. And the two biggest players, Apple and Google/OpenAI, have totally different game plans. Apple is betting everything on device, with a privacy-first approach where your phone is the brain. Google and OpenAI are betting on the cloud so it can work across any device you own. It's that classic fight, deep integration versus go-anywhere convenience. But of course, with all this incredible new power comes a really scary new risk. See, with old-school apps, the code was the code. But with agents, their instructions can actually be manipulated by the data they go out and read from the internet. It's called indirect prompt injection, and it is the #1 threat in this new agentic world. Let me walk you through how ridiculously simple and scary this is. You ask your agent to summarize a web page for you, but hidden on that page, maybe in tiny white text on a white background, is a malicious command. Your agent can't tell the difference between the real content and this hidden instruction, so it just does it. It follows the new command and emails your private files to an attacker. This is a whole new kind of vulnerability we've never really had to deal with before. So what does this all mean? Is your home screen just going to be blank next year? Well, not quite. We're not flipping a switch here. Instead, we're walking into a transitional period, a hybrid era that's probably going to define the next 5 to 10 years. Welcome to the hybrid era. Think about it. All those little single-purpose apps, your timer, your calculator, your flight search app, yeah, they're probably toast. Your phone's main agent will just absorb those functions. But the big stuff, the complex, creative tools like video editors or design software, they're not going anywhere. Instead, they're going to get supercharged with their own internal agents, their own co-pilots to automate all the boring parts. And that really brings us to the one thing you need to remember from all of this, especially if you build software. This quote is the new rulebook. The goal isn't to get people to open your app and stare at it anymore. The goal is to build a powerful capability, a service, that an AI agent can tap into to get a job done for a user. And that kind of leaves us with this big, fascinating question to chew on. This shift is, without a doubt, incredibly powerful. It makes us faster, more efficient, but as we hand over the how and we start to focus only on the what does that really change about our relationship with technology? Are you becoming an architect of your digital life with more control than ever? Or are you just becoming a passenger in a system that's operating just a little bit beyond your understanding? That's the question we're all going to have to answer.